I've been using the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra for a solid month now. Now, we did do a short-term follow-up video a couple of weeks ago, so today we're going to do our best to avoid retreading the exact same ground again, but there will be some overlap with this being more refined and up-to-date opinions. One quick note before we get started, Samsung is not sponsoring this video. Samsung isn't paying me, they didn't give me this phone, they didn't do anything to entice my opinion on this. I paid for the S24 Ultra with my own money. Now today I'm not going to bore you with a spec ordering overview to bloat the video because we already did that last time. So let's not beat around the bush any longer and let's start off with the things I don't like, because nothing in this world, team, if you didn't know, nothing is perfect. This is one part that's going to be very similar to last time. The only thing that I really just don't like about the phone is the price. $12.99 for a cell phone. It's just too much. Like, I mean, I get it. You have to pay for quality and you have to pay for cutting edge technology, but this much money really kind of turns this into a vanity purchase. And I know, I get it. That's going to spark a bunch of spicy comments below. It's less that I dislike the price of this phone and more that I don't like that kids are the target of all the marketing material that I've seen. $12.99 is a ton of money. And despite all the, look, I get it. All the grown-ups who have your finances under control saying that you finance your phone, that's fine. But the thought of kids like mine buying a phone that costs more than my first car, that just doesn't sit well with me. And Apple does the same thing, so I'm not saying this is a one-way Samsung problem. So boiled down, I don't like how expensive flagship phones have gotten in the past few years. You can get most of what this phone does far cheaper in either a used S23 Ultra or an S24 regular. Those are not cheap themselves, but it does make me feel better about giving you more budget-friendly options at the same time. That's really my only complaint, because physically, the phone is flawless. I don't have a single complaint about the phone itself if we set a boundary in my office. Like, see that door right there? On the other side of that door, money doesn't matter in here. Though that's a dangerous philosophy that I'm not gonna say too loud because my wife would probably get pretty mad of all the stuff that I would buy in a money-free environment. Okay, one other, it's not a dislike, but it's a meh, but it could veer into dislike in time. The AI features, for me at least, are a pretty big gimmick. The only one that I've regularly used is the Google Circle that lets you perform searches on digital images, videos, whatever. Everything else is a neat promotional idea, but it hasn't quite become useful to me. That's the meh part. The veering into the dislike part is if Samsung starts charging for this in the future. To each their own. If you use them, like you use the AI generative photo stuff, that's great. If I like everything, that could cause this video to be like an hour long, and it's going to be hard to constrain to a single YouTube video. So let's bound this by saying, what are my top 5 favorite things about the phone 1 month later, so we're not here all day. First off, easily, it's the build quality. I cannot say enough good things about how this phone looks and how the phone feels. Yes, I also know a lot of that material and design comes from the $12.99 that I complained about earlier, but remember, we're now in the TED office, which is housed in a vortex where money, there's no money in here. This phone is straight up gorgeous, with my favorite part being where the frosted glass back and the sides meet. And I know that that's going to be kind of like a dorky thing to appreciate, but the way the silver edge and the colored back meets just makes this phone look so good. I'm a sucker for a matte finish, and that this is matte all the way around, but in a contrasting color kind of way. You'd think a big rectangular slab of glass would be boring, and then if you thought that, you'd be just like me before I got this, because that's what I thought it would be. There is a simple elegance here that I haven't seen in other devices, either from Samsung or Apple. I'd have to say the Google Pixel 5, oddly enough, don't know that I've ever talked about the Google Pixel 5. That was the last phone where I just could not get enough of the design. My second favorite part of this phone is the display. Yes, the technical specs and the display, they're very impressive, and I would go so far to say that technically it's the best display I've ever seen. Very fast refresh rate, bright enough to use as a flashlight by itself. Those aside, the S24 Ultra is the first phone that I've really felt is the phablet. Like, that term was coined back in the, oh wow, maybe as far back as '93? Not only is it big enough to make YouTube watching or movie watching or whatever your content of choice is horizontally, all of that stuff can be done on any phone. I really like that the screen is wide enough that you can get horizontal things done even when it's in the vertical orientation. You've heard me use this specific use case several times in the past couple of weeks, but it keeps being true. I've loved setting this down in a little stand and getting some word processing done wherever I'm at. And that kind of segues into the third thing that I've really liked, the versatility of the phone. Yes, we've all heard me talk about DeX, but it's all of that and all the things this can do together that blows me away. That this phone, yes, it is a phone as expensive as some computers, let's not forget that it can go from simple texting to a really good note taker or study buddy, to a virtual collaboration tool, to a laptop, to a home computer. That fascinates me. And I've even seen some really cool photos on Reddit of how people use DeX and their Samsung phones and tablets as their only computing devices. And that's the thing that I like. That kind of provides that future convergence of tech that sci-fi TV shows. Laptops have essentially been the same device since they came out, like when I was a kid. Yes, they've gotten smaller, sleeker, better all around, but it's still a slab that opens up with a keyboard. A little, comparatively, pocket computer that plugs into and takes advantage of your existing tech infrastructure. That blows my mind, and I don't know that I will ever get sick of that. And I don't know that I'll ever get sick of talking about that because it impresses me. Fourth thing I've liked is the performance. All of that modularity would be for nothing if the phone chugged or struggled to work when you move from simple tasks to more complex multi-window tasks. I've yet to have a single hiccup or even a single slowdown in either regular phone mode or in big DeX mode. And that means with several things happening at once, YouTube videos open, Word open, multiple tabs of my internet browser open. Unless, and yes, there's always an unless you need specific programs that will only run on x86 architecture, or if you need programs that don't run on mobile operating system. But on the other hand, there are also always ways to either stream from a computer to your phone or create virtual machines to make things work on the phone outside of the mobile ecosystem, but that's way outside the purview of a video on a channel called The Everyday Dad. Suffice to say, the power is great today, and you will get 7 years of operating system updates, so it will be great today, and it'll continue to be great in years to come. The fifth thing I've liked is kind of a cop-out, but it's the overall phone. Everything we've talked about today and in previous videos about this just comes together so well in a single device. Like, I'm a tech nerd. I wouldn't have a big YouTube channel like this if I wasn't a tech nerd. I'm so happy, and I've enjoyed this so much. I mean, you can see it from how many times I've wanted to talk about this. The last time I enjoyed a piece of consumer tech this much, I think it was the Apple M1 MacBook Air. From holding the Ultra to the stylus to finding excuses just to carry it around with me when I'm sitting at my desk, I've liked the whole experience. I don't know that I've ever come across a phone that's captivated me so much since like the Motorola Droid way back in the day, that it like flipped up and had a keyboard. Remember that? I even made a whole video where I talked about my struggles with swapping from my iPhone and my family's Apple ecosystem to Samsung's just because of how much I like this phone. It's been with me for a whole month and it looks the same as the day I bought it. I did put a screen protector on it, but the back looks great, the sides look great. I've taken it out for a ton of runs. It's super customized. Just overall a fantastic phone. Would I recommend the S24 Ultra after all this time? If you are a younger person that does not have their finances in order, no, I would not recommend the S24 Ultra. But I wouldn't recommend any extravagant purchases of this much either way. If you are somebody that isn't concerned about the price, or if you live in an office that has been designated a no price zone, then yes, I would absolutely recommend this phone. It bears repeating that I haven't seen a phone since before I started YouTube, what, 7-8 years ago, that's blown my socks off like this thing. It's literally the perfect iteration of a glass slab phone, and dang, I could spend 15 more minutes just gushing about little things, but I won't, because nobody wants to hear that. Maybe we'll do a live stream or something where I just get all of my gushing out at once, and you can hear that unedited. But what about you? Have you purchased an S24 Ultra? How are you enjoying or not enjoying it? Let us all know that balanced set of opinions in the comments below. And click here to see my struggles of swapping from the iPhone 15 Pro Max to the S24 Ultra for a week. Well, 2 weeks in reality. Click, 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 click. Thanks for watching.